Master, Zazubaar, as you may or may not know me. It is another episode of the Sons of Serizawa podcast, whether you like it or not. David Joshua Hernandez, Gorzard, he's here. He's not taking any questions from you.
Well, it depends on the question. And I can't believe that we're paying tax dollars for this podcast.
All right.
Who are you paying? Who are you paying the money to? Because I'm not seeing a dime of it.
Are you, Bill, or are you just keeping that money from us?
No, I'm. Like I said,
All the more.
if somebody were taxing you for this, I would do everything possible to take all of it for myself.
All the more reason
put it into my like Death Star style defenses against any and all people who might try to fuck with me.
I smell a spit coming on.
Dylan McCandless, Super DM 64. He is also here to threaten you.
You're all gonna die. Eventually.
The most terrifying threat of all. Life! And Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir, he is also here to tell us what it's like to be an American Mexican in Japan.
Hello, people of the internet.
Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir, stalwartly going to take the reins for most of this week's episode because there's a lot of shit going on in the world at large. Not really like serious news, although there's some of that going around. We're going to talk about like trailers and animation and stuff.
And announcements.
And
reveals. And departures.
And heartbreak.
So,
big news.
Yes, but before that, I will say that...
Shit you may or may not care about this.
I will say that, unfortunately, it has been revealed that Tom Hanks has recently been accused of being too nice in Hollywood.
Oh.
Oh.
It was only a matter of time, wasn't it?
It's only going to be a matter of time before Andres is accused of being too nice.
Too nice?
It's only a matter of time before...
I feel like he already has. Like, every time we go out in public, people are like, you need to stop being so nice, otherwise I'm going to stab you. And he's just like, I can't.
Oh, so he's been added to the list of Hollywood starlets who are being considered too nice for Hollywood. One of them also being Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is also apparently like
you know what it's
very zen. I mean, he's all into martial arts and shit. So,
mm-hmm.
You know what it's like, Andres. You remember that old episode of South Park, right? After Saddam Hussein was killed in Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Yeah.
When Satan got his new boyfriend Chris, but Chris was a total pussy. And then when Saddam Hussein came back to hell, because what is he going to go, Detroit? He fucking there's a lot of hostility between the two of them, and then Chris decides to take him on a walk in the park to discuss their differences. And Saddam Hussein says to him, "You know why I don't like you, Chris? Because you're the kind of guy that if another guy hated him, he'd take him for a walk in the park to discuss it." I feel like that's you.
Me?
You would totally be Satan's boyfriend walking through the park. That's what Dylan just said to you. In so many words.
With Saddam Hussein. But the story gets crazier from there, because then Saddam Hussein gets sent to heaven, but then somehow he comes back from the dead in season 7. It's a mess.
It just raises too many questions.
Sounds very biographical. So
yes. Anyways,
so what am I trying to care about?
Let's see. Do you care about the DCEU, Bill?
Sometimes.
Well, apparently Batfleck does not care at all that much, because
I got a sense of that from some of the scenes from Justice League. Sometimes he seemed really excited to be there, and sometimes he was like wearing a weird suit in like a room, and he was like busting out brandy.
So it was recently announced that Ben Affleck, he is now out of the DCEU. He will appear one more time as Batman in the Flashpoint movie, which apparently is going to be a thing, and will not be a part of the...
I'm not sure what's confirmed anymore. Like, that's the thing. Like, we got on the call tonight, and you were like, "Yeah, we're going to talk about Ben Affleck leaving the DCU," and I'm like, "That was confirmed? Like, that's been a rumor for like ever since he was announced to be Batman," and I didn't know that was finally concrete, but
yeah,
that's the status of all this. You know, like, I didn't know the Flashpoint movie was definitely the direction of the like. I didn't even know the Flash movie was still definitely in production. Like, they don't even have a director on that anymore.
Oh boy.
Ezra Miller hasn't even seen the script yet.
So is the Flash movie coming before Matt Reeves' Batman movie?
I think so, because I think
get real confused.
Because I think they want to make a trilogy for Matt Reeves' Batman movies, but I guess Batfleck is not going to be a part of it, and so the Flashpoint movie will then lead into that.
At this point, it's questionable whether anything will even be in continuity with each other anymore.
So, if they're going to bring Ben Affleck back just for the Flashpoint movie, I suspect that that'll be a New 52-style reboot after that, because that's what Flashpoint was in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you're right.
So when Flash comes back to this reality, everything will be the same, except Jake Gyllenhaal will be Batman, or whoever. John Hamm, fucking Stan Lee, whoever they get to be Batman will be Batman.
Oh, okay. Sorry, so it's not confirmed, unfortunately. It's just being reported right now.
Oh, see, I told you.
Alright, so it's saying, like, I'm reading a bunch of articles saying he may retire after Flashpoint, reportedly not playing Batman after Flashpoint. Let's see.
Well, apparently it was confirmed, right, that he's not going to be in the Matt Reeves movie because they're, like, looking at casting options. Yeah. The two biggest names that have been floating around have been Gyllenhaal and Hamm.
Right.
I would prefer John Hamm in those two, but I would be fine with either of those, honestly. So I guess the Flashpoint thing will lead into that. So we'll have to see what that Batman is like.
And I think this image right here would perfectly sum up Ben Affleck's relationship with Warner Brothers.
By the way, Gyllenhaal and Hamm, great name for a lawyer practice or a donor.
Gyllenhaal.
Oh, I thought you were going to share that picture of Ben Affleck smoking a cigarette outside going like, ah.
I think he thought he had a winning formula at the start of this, and then when it didn't seem to be so, he just decided to jump ship.
Listen, Ben Affleck, you're lucky to be where you are, okay? We all saw Pearl Harbor, all right? We forgave you for that shit.
Well, not even that. Like, he can do what he wants. However, I would have preferred him to stay because I liked him in the role, and it seems like eventually this might turn into something kind of okay. So, and I was willing to watch it all unfold, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shame
this feels like a wasted opportunity above all else. Like, he was a good casting choice despite all the bullshit that surrounded his casting. And at the end of the day, it's just a waste to see him in two really troubled production-wise movies, you know?
Mm-hmm. So you think he just doesn't like the hassle, or does he just hate, like, the negative reputation?
This feels like Daniel Craig. This feels like Daniel Craig after Spectre. This feels like Daniel Craig just like somebody just done with the franchise and done with the studio machine and the press and all that, and the response to these movies and the way everything's picked apart. And the way that impacts their image.
It's a little different, though, in that Daniel Craig was successful at playing James Bond for many, many years. Ben Affleck, while good in the role, has
Although
not had...
he also got slander for it from the very start, like Ben Affleck did, so that's why they're comparable.
Ben Affleck, while great in the role, has not had much good to do. It's a shame that we've gotten so little of Batfleck actually just being Batman. Like, you know... we got a little bit of it in Suicide Squad and the couple seconds he was in that movie, and then we got a little bit. We got more of it in Justice League, and Justice League is probably the best he's been. But
I mean, yeah, it's the best. It's the best thing that his character has been in by far. But
I think his character will forever be mired by like, he's the Batman from BVS. Like the really badass fight scene, but the rest of the movie he just goes around saying,
well, he'll forever be the Batman that just doesn't have his own identity because it feels like the studio just desperately trying to figure out which Batman will make them the most money, as opposed to having a director who has a vision and just sticking with it because it satisfies everybody, you know? That seems to be what they're looking for now with getting Matt Reeves and potentially recasting and maybe starting from scratch, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As opposed to like George Clooney Batman, who doesn't have an identity because he phoned that performance right the fuck in.
Yeah. His Batman has ice skates built into his fucking boots, even though he didn't know he was going to be fighting an ice-themed villain that night.
Somehow he has a Batman credit card, too.
That is more believable to me, believe it or not, than the ice skate thing. Because why would Batman have ice skates built into his suit. Again, especially if he didn't know he was going to be fighting an ice skate villain like he didn't. Remember Commissioner Gordon comes on the weird like TV and he's like, Batman, there's a new villain. He's calling himself Mr. Freeze. And Batman's like, all right. And then he just goes out to punch him.
But Bill, isn't Batman saying that he's prepared for every eventuality? Like, think about it this way. When you buy a Batman toy, it's always like, here's Ice Skater Batman.
Yeah, but
and
there's always
flying.
specific suits. Like, why would he have that specific suit on if he didn't know he was going to be fighting an ice-themed villain?
Right, well, but what I'm saying to you is it makes more sense to just build all that shit into your normal suit. Because then, if ice skating should ever arise...
I don't feel like Batman would solve the problem presented by ice with ice skates. I feel like he would just use his grapple gun. Like he does in every other version, where he doesn't need ice skates built into his boots.
Well, that's fine until he needs to, actually fight someone who's on the ice, not just swing over them,
You can fight somebody on the ice with a grapple gun.
Think about this. How did Christian Bale do all that shit in Dark Knight Returns? He must have had some fucking ice skates. You saw that lake.
Dark Knight Rises, you mean?
Did I say Returns?
What did he do on the ice exactly? Oh yeah, he let it. He could have done that with the plane though.
What happened in that movie again?
There was a bridge. I remember there was a bridge in it.
and they blew it up.
Oh, did they?
There was a Robin in it that they kept secret for the whole movie.
There was that as well.
I just remember months and months of us doing this voice on podcasts and planning to kill entire cities of people through diarrhea.
I remember that was from the first episode.
Amazing. What memories?
You may have my permission to poop.
That's good. I'm glad.
I forgot that line, but yeah, it's great.
Those were simpler times back then. Simpler yet more complicated times. For certain reasons.
Yeah. We live in a darker, grayer world now.
Speaking of darker and grayer worlds...
One where we don't know who will be Batman.
Right. Speaking of darker and grayer worlds, we have Jurassic World! Fallen Kingdom! The official trailer after... that weird, creepy variation.
That was like one of my favorite. That was like one of my favorite things about it. I was like, "Who the fuck came up with that?"
Yeah.
Who took a cat and was like, "You're gonna sing the Jurassic Park theme when we murder you"?
It's like you took one of you took the most hopeful sounding John Williams score and you tried to make it scary. How would you think that would work?
Well, I like what they thought they were trying to do with it. See, this is what I think they thought they were doing. The last movie was very memorable because the trailer did that piano version of the theme, and it was all super nostalgic and shit. This trailer thinks we're going to turn that shit right on its head by giving them
what they're doing.
By giving them fucking badass, scary Hans Zimmer blah version of.
I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, there were intense musical pieces from John Williams' original score.
I don't know.
You know
I was fine with it.
What's weird about it is that we only ever heard those three notes, so I don't know if there's actually more of it like that in the movie. One can only hope.
Probably
that
not.
we get the whole in that form. That would almost make it worth it.
See, but there's but it's just a stinger thing from the trailer of the last movie too. So I think that's all it'll likely be. I don't know. I was fine with it for the purpose it served in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movie is going to benefit greatly from the existence of the first movie, and that expectations are not going to be all that high. I remember watching the trailers for Jurassic World 1 and thinking, maybe this is going to be the one to recapture what the original film did, and it said it was just a dumb, fun action movie. Now I'm looking at the sequel, expecting a dumb, fun action movie, and I feel like that's what the trailer. So.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean, they are going into that full on.
Oh yeah, it's man and dinosaur versus nature.
I mean, when I read the synopsis of this, I was like, "Is this not the San Andreas sequel?" Like I thought that's what it was for a second.
I mean, if it weren't for all the vegetation, I would have thought this was San Andreas or Rampage with the dark, dirty, murky color palette.
No, see, my theory is that Rampage. My theory is that Rampage is the San Andreas sequel. Same director, same The Rock wearing that same T-shirt, flying a helicopter.
Yo, I mean, they
Same
reference fucking San Andreas in the trailer, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Don't call attention to how similar this is to the last movie these two people made together. Why would you do that? That would be like if every time Kurosawa made a movie, they released a trailer saying, "Coming this summer, another fucking Toshiro Mifune performance."
As a fucking samurai.
Mm.
But this time, he's black? No.
You know, I'm not crazy about the actual like thing to get everybody back together for this one, which is always the conceit that's needed in a Jurassic Park sequel. And this time it's the island is going to explode and all the dinosaurs are going to go through a second extinction and maybe we should stop that. I'm like,
right.
Do they know that?
I like that they're not treating the dinosaurs like the bad guys now.
It's not even that. I'm okay with. It's not even I'm okay with. I actually there are interesting ideas to be explored with, like, well, if these things are gonna go extinct, do they deserve any kind of protection?
I do like that. They go into the morality, at least in terms of the trailer. They seem to be touching on the morality of, do we consider these monsters? Do we consider these creatures expendable monsters or a legit endangered species now?
Or even, which I'm really glad Ian Malcolm is gonna have this role, if any, in this movie, where he comes in and he's just like, hey, listen, maybe you shouldn't step in it at all. Maybe this is a good thing that they're going to all be wiped out in one go. Theoretically, if Isla Sorna's not around anymore, which we don't know about. But I like that his role there is to go, they could wipe us all out just by their very existence. It's the same idea in, like, the last Planet of the Apes movie. Like, just by their sheer being there is a danger to us. So all that's interesting. But the idea of a volcano secretly being inactive under Isla Nublar...
Yeah, that is like,
guys.
What was John Hammond thinking when he was, how did he not know there was a volcano?
The islands are volcanic. That's in the
True.
books. But they're not.
I mean, that's how islands are made in the first place.
Sure. However, it's not even like it's not possible. It's that is the entire plot. That's what's kind of laughable about it. You know.
What's interesting is it's the last piece of the puzzle that they haven't done in a Jurassic Park movie. Me and Bill.
I was gonna say this is also why I don't like it. It's one of my least favorite things about dinosaur movie tropes.
Me and Bill have watched a whole lot of old. Me and Bill have watched a whole lot of old Lost World, like Dinosaur Island type movies recently. It's a whole genre, actually.
It is. It's a fascinating thing to explore.
And they're all pretty much the same, but one major trope that exists within these films is the island or lost world of whatever nature gets destroyed at the end of the movie through earthquake,
like Son of Kong,
volcano, or fire, or whatever. Yeah, Son of Kong. I think Land Unknown did this as well.
Or just sinking in the Lost Continent.
Most of them have done this, okay? Every other trope of those movies has been done in a previous Jurassic Park thing, like, Island of Dinosaurs, just done through a new way of having the dinosaurs be there. Taking the dinosaur back to civilization and having it rampage through a city. All of this has been done before. The only one they haven't done is blowing up the island. And so now that's
wiping all the dinosaurs out and everything that exists of the dinosaur world.
Which is interesting because Michael Crichton actually did that in the first fucking book, right at the end. He fucking had the government just fucking firebomb.
Yeah, because he didn't know he was going to make a sequel or not.
Well, that's what makes this so weird for like us who know the books and everything. Like, oh, should we protect them? They wouldn't have in the fucking first book. They would have been like, nope, bring the fucking helicopter squad in. Let's gun them all down.
Maybe they should have done that for this movie. I mean, instead of a volcano, they should have had, like, we're going to set a time limit to bomb the island.
See, I would have liked that better if they would have been like, we're going to bomb it. Get as many dinosaurs off as you can for, like, private collections and stuff and study.
Yeah.
There we go.
That would have been better. Instead of like Tommy Lee Jones causing a volcanic eruption with Tom Hanks going like, fuck dinosaurs.
You know what's really interesting, and I never
have your explosions.
You know what's really interesting, and I never thought about this before. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Why are there two islands in the movies? Now here's the thing. I never thought about this until recently. Michael Crichton had to invent Isla Sorna for the second book because he had destroyed the first island at the end of the first book. So he had to invent another island for that second book. The movies, on the other hand, could have easily just kept it on Isla Nublar the whole time and not fucking confuse the continuity by saying, "Oh, there are two dinosaurs, but are there two islands with dinosaurs on them?" Like they didn't have to throw that second island.
The way it's explained in the books, though, it does make sense.
That it was like a place to raise the dinosaurs before moving them to Site A?
Not even that. It's more so like Jurassic Park is like the show floor. Like, oh, look at all this extravagant, cool technology. Look, and you walk through, look how safe and high-tech it is. And then Isla Sorna is like the factory floor. That's where like the real manufacturing is. Because they explain like you're not just making a bunch of eggs and they hatch. You're making like hundreds of clones and hoping that like two of them live. You know, so that's what's good about the Lost World book is that it's the true dark side of Jurassic Park, the real disgusting industry behind this magical, wondrous science. And it seems like this is trying to sort of remake the attempt that second movie did at like doing that, like doing the darker side of this concept.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that I like. I like that we're doing like that. We're shifting those tones around. I just wish that there was no volcano. That's my point.
It's interesting when you think about that. The fact that creating the second island, yes, they explain it really well in the book because it's Michael fucking Crichton, but creating the island in the first place is sheerly done out of like, oh shit, I blew up the island and now I have to make a sequel.
Right. Well, the whole second
it's surely
book
done out of necessity, and you know, if Michael Crichton had known that it was going to be a fucking movie franchise when he wrote the first book, I wonder if he would have blown up the island at the end.
Well, because
I wonder if he wouldn't have just made it easier on himself and everyone else and just kept it to one island, and like you could still have the fucking dinosaurs in the wild interacting with each other thing. It would just be, hey, they've broken out of their cages and now they run the fucking island.
Well, that's what this is. I mean, they're all just out of their cages, roaming around the deserted park, and that imagery is cool. And I like all that. It's very Bioshocky. But with dinosaurs. So I like all that. Basically, they've taken Isla Nublar and turned it into Isla Sorna. However, in this movie, where they have to address, like, the dinosaurs are going to go extinct again, I feel like they kind of have to address the other island now. Like, they can't just... they've said before that this isn't, like, the Jurassic World is not a reboot. Like, it is, all three movies are canonical with it. In this instance where it's like they're going to debate...
I thought they said the opposite. I thought they had said that they were ignoring everything after the first movie.
No, I'm pretty sure Colin Trevorrow, like, around the time the movie came out, was like, no, 2 and 3 are still, like, this is still Jurassic Park 4, but we're just kind of not going to address them because people don't remember them fondly, and we're just going to address the first movie because it's popular.
One of the things I like about the first Jurassic World movie is that you can kind of take it either way. You can take it as a reboot or as a sequel because it just doesn't address it. So it's like,
well, I mean, the first movie obviously happened. It's just
I'm talking about like soft, like no sequels reboot, that kind of that kind.
But especially since they're bringing in Ian Malcolm, I don't think they'll go that route. I think they'll just make it Jurassic Park 5. And in that instance, they need to address the second island, and it might even be a good thing to go, well, we have someplace to put them, you know? Like, we could just bring them to this other island. It's just a matter of doing it. However, I kind of get the feeling they won't do that, or if they do, and they do bring up the island, if they bring up Isla Sorna, they'll say that all the dinosaurs there are dead, which I'd be fine with. That would be another nice kind of way to bring, because in the Michael Crichton novel The Lost World, Ian Malcolm is like, yeah, that island's going to be dead soon. Because it's not sustainable.
One question though. Here's a possible scenario they could do, and it might even be interesting. It might even be worth it, honestly. Let's say that they do say second 2 movies didn't happen, Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3, not in this universe. Let's say they did go that route and they didn't bring up the second island at all. Then it becomes much more of an ethical debate, because then it becomes, if you take these dinosaurs off the island to save them from the volcano, you don't have another magical dinosaur island to put them on. You've got to put them in like Africa or something.
Well, I like the idea of AZUL sort of not being there anymore, so we don't have a way out. But I would like them to address it. Because you can just have somebody in the courtroom just go, why don't we just put them on the other island, and they'll just be like, well, it's not there anymore. It's all the dinosaurs there are dead, and the island there is not usable anymore. They've done something else with it.
The Dinosaurus outcompeted all the other predators and just totally destroyed the population. And
I think the other more interesting side of it, then, like you said, is that you have to introduce them somewhere that's like not self-contained. So they're going to spread. There's more of the potentials to spread over the world. Which, if 3 is canon, then that should have already happened with the pterosaurs. And that should already be happening because there are pterosaurs on Jurassic World. Or most of them died, though, I guess, in the breakout. I don't know. Stuff like that needs to be addressed.
One would assume, though, that if there are any pterosaurs that escaped after Jurassic Park 3 still in the wild, that they don't really come into contact with humans, because if they did, they probably would have already been killed. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Someone could just assume that they've isolated themselves.
Don't you wish that Universal put out like prequel novels like Fox and Disney does for Star Wars and Planet of the Apes and Alien? Like they did that for Jurassic Park, the movies.
I'd love all of these franchises that I like to have Star Wars EU type expansions.
Yeah.
Where are my shelves and shelves of Godzilla novels? Damn it! But
Yeah, I mean they're out there. They're just not canon with anything except themselves.
They're just nonsensical bullshit.
But I mean, it at the end of the day, it looks like a good time. The dinosaurs look good. That's always a good thing. It's just hearing that T-Rex roar again. It fills me with like, yeah, I'll pay $13 to hear that in a movie theater.
There are two things about this trailer that I really, really love. One is that the CG, just from what we've seen, looks better than in the last movie. I think,
and there's more animatronics. We already know that that's like a big thing that they're confirming.
Yeah. But
that they will most likely cover up with CGI.
I hope not. I hope that they're not going to do that because people have bitched about it.
Yeah.
I assume that a lot of that is due to the lighting. In the first movie, it was a whole lot of dinosaurs out in the sunlight. And this, it's a lot darker and more shadowy, and I think that just inherently makes CG look better. But the other thing, which is always nice to see in a Jurassic Park movie of any sort, is a few new species cameoing in this trailer. So there's the Carnotaurus.
Carnotaurus, the cheetah of the theropods.
Who people of our generation probably remember as the simply being referred to as Carnotaurs in Disney's Dinosaur.
Yeah. When I saw them, I was like, oh, where's fucking Aladar? Where's he at? Where's the love bug?
Don't worry, Bill. Universal hasn't been bought by Disney yet.
Oh God!
And then there's another shot in the trailer somewhere of what people are speculating might be a baryonyx, because it looks like a raptor, but it's like too big to be a raptor.
The one in the fire that comes out of the door.
Oh yeah.
I was wondering if that was like another hybrid or something when I saw the trailer the first time, but then the second time. I was like, okay, I guess that's some kind of long-snouted thing that was a real dinosaur. So I hope it's a baryonyx. That would be nice.
Like they kind of insinuated that baryonyxes were a thing in Jurassic Park 3, where
because they're like that wasn't on InGen's list, and I'm like, oh, but baryonyx was, and we've never seen them, and I feel like they were mentioned in the books too, if not one and two.
Another really interesting note for people who haven't read the books, the Carnotaurus was actually featured in the Lost World novel.
Yes, and in that really cool, creepy part where they were like, what's going on? Why is this dinosaur invisible?
Yeah. So Michael Crichton gave the Carnotaurs in the book the ability to camouflage, much like what they gave the Indominus Rex in World. I doubt they'll do that in this movie just
because of the Indominus Rex, yeah.
Yeah. Michael Crichton had a habit of giving dinosaurs abilities that they could have had, but probably didn't. You know, just like the Dilophosaurus spitting poison in the first movie, Flash book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hope we don't do. We probably will see some hybrids or some kind of genetically modified dinosaurs because we know that Wu's going to be back. I wonder if he's like in the basement on the island, like doing some crazy experiments.
Well, did you hear the really weird thing that the director came out and said after
What?
the trailer broke?
What?
Everybody was like, "Oh, they've given away like the big climax of the movie," and then like the director came out and was like, "Oh no, everything we showed you in the trailer is like from Act 1." And I was like, "What? The island is going to explode in Act 1?"
See, that kind of excites me because if that's the case, then the island exploding is more like the motivation for like the rest of the plot.
Yeah.
In which case, that's more interesting to me. Because then if most of the movie is just dealing with not having an island to put the dinosaurs on, yeah, that's like immediately a more interesting story than
And then maybe like the
run,
military
explosions and lava, which is
Maybe
what
at
the
that point,
trailer
like,
is, you know? And I'm like, this looks fun, but
And they kind of hinted that there have been other companies.
Interesting.
It was kind of hinted that there may be other companies out there that want to get their hands on these dinos,
We
like
know
the
that-
military.
We know that InGen is going to have
They never-
a role. They seem to be a nothing company anymore, though.
So it's like
never
they might be
followed up
selling
on-
their assets, aka the dinos.
Well, they never followed up on Dotson from the first movie, and he's like a deal in the second book. Like they deal with Dotson. Like he comes, he
Well,
basically
he's
does
like a
what
real character in the books. He's not just a guy wearing a hat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he basically does what the big game hunters in the second movie do in the second book. He like comes to the Lost World to try and like, oh, I'm just gonna steal a bunch of these dinosaurs that InGen left behind. So
Were
we can
they
use them
when
for
they
our...
robbed that T-Rex nest? That is one of the like. That's a really scary fucking scene. Because just to think about doing that and have somebody ordering you to follow their fucking lead in doing that, like I would fucking shit myself.
And
I
the
would
way
kill
Michael
myself
Crichton
right there.
the way Michael Crichton describes the T-Rex babies is way creepier than what they are in the movie. Because you get the sense that they're kind of fatter. Like I think he describes them as like looking kind of like turkeys, kind of like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
well,
they're
they
kinda
they don't really. It's not like the lean runner that you see in the movie. It's,
yeah, in the movie, the baby T-Rex is like, oh, like a raptor, but with a T-Rex head. That's...
Exactly. But yeah, no, in the book, it's like this big chicken baby. It's like this baby little chick, but it's a T-Rex.
Looks really good. Everybody go read the Jurassic Park books if you haven't already.
And remember, it was like sensitive enough that it didn't take a stake being put through its leg to break the leg. It just got stepped on by a guy with a boot. So it's not the same. Very different. Very different.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else from that second book they should throw in there. Because a lot of that was left out and then incorporated into the action sequences of 3. I just hope this is better than 3. That's my mark. Because Jurassic Park 3 is like a movie, like 2 and like Jurassic World, but to much more of an extent where there are some ideas in it I like, some performances in it I like, action sequences and dinosaurs, but overall it just doesn't come together into much for me.
Yeah.
But Jurassic World and The Lost World both come together a lot more into something, and I'm hoping that this will at least do it more than 3. And the action and the island falling apart at the start rather than the end sounds like a step into the right direction for me then.
How cool would it be if they actually brought Dotson into the movie, or a Dotson-like character? Like you find out that after what happened in the first movie, Wu went off and like joined up with some rival company.
Great. That would be really great. After Hammond died or something, because that Hammond dying seems to be the shift. Because after he died and InGen fell apart, it seems like he got hit with some legal shit because he did some illegal things. Because I mean, Jurassic Park is illegal from the fucking onset. Like they addressed that in the books, and it's sort of hinted at in the movies that if they didn't do it in secret and then unveil it to the world under official pretenses, then it wouldn't have happened because nobody would have allowed that to get off the ground.
Yeah, that would actually be an interesting twist. What if you found out that Wu is working for Dotson's company, and he's actually been working with them since before the first Jurassic World, and he was like all corporate espionage. That's why he was like so fucking shady in the first Jurassic World movie. That could retroactively make their use of BD Wong in Jurassic World a little better.
So do you want hybrids then? Do you want some like Stegosaurus Triceratops hybrids and shit? Which is what that'll lead to.
I'm not as against the hybrid dinosaur idea as I think a lot of people are, because it's straight out of the book. Like, Wu wanted to do that in the first Jurassic Park book, and John Hammond was like, "No, we're not fucking doing that."
So much hybrids as just tweaking them and just making them better.
Well, no. Yeah, so the idea was, let's fucking enhance these dinosaurs and make them more than they already are. And Hammond basically, said something.
I just don't want the dumb toys that'll brew in the movies. I'm more okay with like they're. Hey just man, efficient.
I want chaos effect. Okay, I don't rob me of my chaos effect movie.
That would have been a great cartoon, but I want efficient like dinosaurs that are bred for warfare and shit. And like, they can have hybrid elements, but I don't want them to be like those overt, like just throwing two things together because it'll make a good toy, you know?
Have you guys seen this movement on DeviantArt or throughout the internet that Trey the Explainer started on YouTube, where after he critiqued Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, he criticized the Indominus for not being imaginative enough. So he had like a challenge to all dinosaur artists to #build a better fake theropod. So if you were to go to Google Images right now and type in build a better fake theropod, I want to know if there are any of these ideas right here that you would think could work for legitimate like hybrid for future dinosaurs.
I will say that I'm more interested in seeing species that we haven't seen in the movies that were real. Like that's more interesting to me.
Okay. Yeah, I totally understand. I understand that. Oh yeah, and yeah, furrier, fuzzier, yeah.
What about some kind of like T-Rexy type theropod, but with like Stegosaurus plates on the back? That's never been done, right?
Definitely not.
And the arms of an iguanodon.
Yeah, that'd be totally tits.
Are you guys Japanese? Because that's what it sounds like right now.
Maybe some feline features in the face.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Throw a little mammalian DNA into the hybrid. I like it.
Yeah. Maybe throw in some ape DNA to give him some more like muscular pecs, a chest.
See, I feel like a simian dinosaur hybrid. Like that's something that's a great idea for something that's not Jurassic Park. That's where that line is, because then I'm like, yeah, I want to see that. Not in Jurassic Park though.
But Bill,
I'd love to see a new Relic movie where you do that.
Let me pitch this to you, Bill. What if they take like a Velociraptor, right, and they give him like human level intelligence, like genius level human intelligence, right, and they name him Clarence, and they give him a mech suit,
and a monocle to help him read.
Yeah, of course,
And his brain is so big that it needs armor.
Right.
Yeah.
Scientifically, it makes sense to me. The science is sound, as we like to say on this show.
Or as we used to like to say.
Like, I Googled build a better fake theropod.
Uh-huh.
Some of these results are cool looking. Some of them are really weird.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially the one where it's like a squid in the vague shape of a theropod.
They definitely should have done something better than just a Raptor T-Rex combo, because they made that out to be a reveal when that was in the marketing. So, I mean, that was dumb on their part.
It was also super obvious.
Also, where do you think those arms came from?
No, like I said, they revealed that in the marketing. Like, if you go on the website, like the Indominus Rex had its own page, and they tell you what it is. Like, it's got snake DNA and shit, and Raptor DNA. So I don't know why in the movie they're like, what else is in there? It's got Raptor in it, doesn't it? No shit.
You know what would be even if you didn't read that website, though, it was super obvious just from the way the thing was acting. You know what would have been a better reveal? Is if they're, like, fighting the thing, and then all of a sudden, two fucking frills pop up from the sides of its face and just start shooting giant globs of fucking, acid at people.
I really liked the Dilophosaur cameo in Jurassic World, though. That was, like, one of the most clever jokes in that movie.
When did that happen?
That was when the holographic one popped up and stopped the raptor.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
I like that a lot. I'd like to see one in Fallen Kingdom, though.
Yeah, well, I want to see a full grown one. Even the one in Jurassic World was only like not even adult size.
I want to see like more than one. That's what I'd like to see, because there's supposed to be a couple of them around at once. You know, they're not supposed to be like just solitary killers.
Like on Jurassic Park the ride.
I don't think the idea is supposed to be that the Dilophosaurus is juvenile, though, Andres. I think that in the Jurassic Park universe, they're just that size. Like raptors in real life, or velociraptors in real life.
Are they not big enough for you? Does size matter to you so much, you heartless bastard?
But anyway, shit, I was going to say something a minute ago and I lost it. Fuck. You know who I hope shows up in some capacity in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? My favorite addition to the dinosaur, not even technically a dinosaur, but my favorite addition to the cast in Jurassic World was undoubtedly the Mosasaur. Who, well,
there's stuff, there's got to be stuff in the water. Like, when all the dinosaurs fall in the water in that one bit, which is apparently closer to the start than I would have imagined, you imagine the Mosasaur was like, great, good for me. Like, snack time. Like, I hope that there's, like, just, like, all kinds of shit in the water as well, like in Jurassic Park Builder. There's, like, a whole underwater park in that game.
You know what you could do, and they would never fucking do this, because it's not Jurassic Parky enough, but it would be fucking cool. Have that Mosasaur, like, it escapes from whatever they were keeping it behind, and then it just swims off into the ocean. And then you just have a whole Jaws-style movie of, like, some little Costa Rican village just getting terrorized by a Mosasaur.
Yeah, I mean, there's a book like that out there, so that might be a little too... Yeah, there's a book that's basically Jaws with a Mosasaur, or a Liopleurodon, whichever one they used. I can't remember exactly.
The Mosasaurus is longer and has a bigger tail.
I know that they are different, but I just don't remember which one in particular was used for that book.
Is it called Mosasaur, a love story?
Not that I recall, although that would have been cool.
What's it called? Molested by the Mosasaur?
Like I said, I don't remember.
Was it called Laid by the Liopleurodon?
It's been a while.
Taken by the T-Rex.
Taken by the T-Rex is my favorite thing to ever exist ever at this moment.
So how come the T-Rex is like a good guy or a good girl now? How come she's like, I'm gonna save humans? Like, she used to fucking eat them all the time. That was her thing. She's
old now. Give her...
What is she, blind? What is she? Just like, oh, they're little T-Rexes.
Maybe. She fought like a younger dinosaur monster that was in his prime.
Bill, I mean, the T-Rex saved the cast of the first movie at the end of the first movie, so it's not new behavior. Every now and then, she comes into, conflict with another dinosaur, and if some humans happen to get saved in the meantime, there's a fucking dinosaur to kill, and that's way more meat than a human, so what is she fucking care?
That's true. Listen. I just want her to be honest about her feelings. That's it. That's all I ask, all right? I want a little clarity.
Bill wants a Jurassic Park movie where the dinosaurs are honest about their feelings.
I just want the T-Rex to sit down with Blue and be like, listen, I'm a little sad, all right? I'm lonely on this island. There's no other T-Rexes. They're too afraid of me to make another one. I can't reproduce asexually because, I mean, look at me. Look how old I am. I mean, you think I got anything left in there? Ugh.
I just like to imagine, like, no, like I just picture a brontosaurus like lying on like a couch in like a psychiatrist's office, and the psychiatrist is like a Parasaurolophus or something, and he's just saying, man, I just really like to like go to the water hole without like the fucking T-Rex trying to bite me in the ass. It's the whole.
I have to eat. That's how she sounds.
You know what I want to see is a Pachycephalosaurus. Have we gotten a Pachycephalosaurus since the second movie? I don't think so.
I don't remember.
I think
there's a reference to them in Jurassic World because they keep hopping the fences. I remember that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
In the marketing for Fallen Kingdom a few months ago, there was like this teaser poster where it was just like a picture of dinosaur bones. Like in a museum type setting, and there was a girl there. Where's that? What's that? Where's that at? Like,
Bill, that's like asking where was that museum scene in Godzilla '98? It's part of the,
but we see a little bit of it in the trailer, I think. Like, and there's like this old man who's not John Hammond, and I'm like, who's that? Is that like John Hammond's brother?
I kind of wish that museum scene was in Godzilla 98, actually. It would be super easy to put in there. Just, you cut to it while he's doing his, like, rampage. That would make the movie 0.2% better.
Whatever that means.
All movies will be enhanced by a museum scene.
Just ask the Relic.
It will be enhanced by exactly 0.2%. The Relic is a museum scene. The whole fucking movie.
It is indeed. But yeah, dinosaurs are fun.
The book on the hand, way better.
The movie's still pretty good.
Yeah. You know what else is fun? Spider-Man.
Sometimes.
Usually not by Sony.
Well, recently.
Spider-Man is black.
That's kind of the trailer, isn't it? Like, oh, Black Spider-Man, and is everybody cool with this?
Or is there just a Black Spider-Man?
So
we recently got the reveal of the trailer from Sony for the long-awaited animated, not so much long-awaited, but it's the
I forgot this was
animated.
A thing.
Yeah, right. Most people have probably already forgot, but a while back, Sony announced that they were going to make an animated Spider movie based on Miles Morales, the second Ultimate Spider-Man from the Ultimate Marvel Universe that was later transferred into the mainstream Marvel Universe. Don't ask. And so we finally got the first trailer, or the teaser trailer, for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. So it seems to like set up that status quo. Peter Parker's dead because you see the tombstone, and Miles Morales.
He?
And well, they seem to be doing the Spider-Man storyline from the comics, where Peter Parker from the 616 universe traveled into the Miles Morales universe. But the title seems to imply that it's also the Spider-Verse storyline, where there were like 15 million different Spider-Men. And
already I'm nervous because already it looks like Sony's trying to branch into a cinematic universe with this by already shoving the Spider-Verse into this.
Well, they seem to be doing everything they possibly can with Spider-Man that Marvel can't do with what they're doing in the MCU with him.
I would actually love like a cinematic, even if it's animated version of like that video game where you had like Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
Shattered Dimension.
That seems to be what this is setting up, because this seems to be like, almost like a concept trailer. Like some of the animation doesn't seem finished.
Right, yeah, there's like a lack of texture, everything's all stuttery.
Because some of it looks really impressive. Like some moments look really impressive, like when he's leaping around and shit. And
everything, like the pop color, everything turns into like a couple milliseconds. It turns into like a comic panel with bright neon colors,
which I don't love. Which I don't love. That's kind of forced.
I like that.
Me of the way that fucking like MTV show looked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the parts of it that looked like that I enjoyed. But then when you get close-ups on the faces, you're like, oh, this is not Disney, but they're trying to be.
That's true. You're right. I didn't think about that.
I almost feel like they were trying to capture the look of the Ultimate Spider-Man video game in a way. It kind of looks like that, too.
Yeah. Well, I was more okay with that in that because that was for like a reason, so you could get close-ups on stuff that wasn't from your point of view.
And that also that game also incorporated. By the way, that's a great PS2 era game. That game also incorporated like comic book panels into its like cutscenes and shit. It was very Ang Lee Hulk in that way.
Oh, okay.
It's a good idea for a scene transition. It's just that Ang Lee did it shittily.
Yeah, this was one thing it's really weird with the frame rate. It's like I was thinking, are they trying to go for like a stop motion look to this animation, or is it just not finished?
It feels that way at points. Yeah, this feels almost. I know this is going to come out in theaters, but it almost feels like a direct-to-video thing, you know? Like, it feels like, oh, okay.
A bit, yeah, like a direct-to-Netflix.
Okay, that's a Spider-Man movie that will not count and might be fun. All right, fine. Now, but that's weird to say because I would love the idea of big-budget, theatrical, animated superhero movies.
Like a Big Hero 6?
Sure, but I was thinking more like Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Okay.
That's what I want. I want stuff like that, you know, like them to do more comic booky type animated movies, which I guess is what this is conceptually. To do something from the comics we might not get in live action for a while. But
DC doing that for a while. It's just that they've been straight to video with the occasional screening in a theater.
Yeah, I think that an expansion of that is a great idea. I just think this is somewhat convoluted in its motivation, like a lot of things that this studio is doing with Spider-Man at the moment outside of the MCU.
This kind of ties into something else we're going to be talking about in a little bit. How am I supposed to give Japan shit for all their recent movie trailer CG antics? We're doing the same fucking thing.
I mean, it's everybody. I mean, that's the way you efficiently produce animation now.
I don't know if like the stuttering frame rate is just like a stylistic thing, or if it's a budget thing.
I don't, because again, like the backgrounds all look amazing and the suit looks good, but it's just the occasionally it'll move weird and you're just like, this takes me out.
Right. Like whenever the characters are moving fast, you don't notice the frame rate, but then when he moves, makes these very slow, subtle movements, then it becomes jarring.
Maybe
it's like ew.
You think maybe we're going to get kind of like a Batman Beyond type storyline where it's actually the story of Peter Parker stepping down from being Spider-Man and Miles Morales taking over as Spider-Man? Do you think that's going to play into it at all?
Like I said, we see a headstone. But I think it's a Peter Parker from a different universe. Like that's the idea I get from the trailer, because when he shows up at the end, he's like, how many of us wear the mask here? And I get the sense that he's come from another universe and he's surprised by the fact that there's somebody else in the costume. I think he expected to encounter an alternate universe of himself, an alternate version of himself.
Is Miles Morales the one that has like that female sidekick? Like the female side,
does he have a female sidekick?
I don't know. I've never read Miles Morales.
Somebody has a female sidekick.
Solo, as far as I know.
Somebody has a female sidekick. There's like some sort of female-looking spider character who's like white.
Spider-Gwen, she's not his sidekick, though. She's from another alternate universe.
Holy shit.
She's an alternate version of the Gwen Stacy clone.
I would rather
where she becomes Spider-Woman and not Peter Parker.
Well,
Peter Parker becomes a lizard.
She gets spider powers from
the spider.
Experiment. Yeah, so...
Why can't we have that animated? Why can't we have that animated film? I'd love a Spider-Girl movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Spider-Girl comics would have been great, but nobody's going to know that now.
Oh, yeah. Right. Now it's all about Spider-Gwen.
That would be a great direct-to-video movie. I feel like that's a good venue for that. I don't know. It just seems like nobody's going to care about this because it seems like, again, it just seems like the people up there are like, who are we making this for? I don't know. Just throw money at it and hope. It's got Spider-Man in it.
It's got Spooderman.
So we're not going to see Takuya Yamashiro in this movie?
I don't know.
I said, if it's a Spider-Verse movie, presumably we'll see other Spider-Men outside of Peter Parker and Miles Morales. However, based on this trailer, if they dip into that, if they do that, I get the sense that it'll be just about them two, and we'll get little cameos from other Spider-Men, and that'll be it.
And
if they're setting up a multiverse thing, a character that I'd really love to see, and I don't know if they'd do it just because of recent events, but how great would it be if we got a little Madam Web in there?
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know. I just want to see other Spider-Man. I want to see the armored Spider-Man. I want to see fucking the Doc Ock Spider-Man. I want to see Japanese Spider-Man. I want to see the
Man Spider.
I want to see I want to see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I want to see Andrew Garfield Spider. Although the Spider-Man that they have representing like normal 616 Peter Parker, he looks very Andrew Garfield-y.
Actually, I think that's supposed to be that is actually supposed to be Miles Morales himself, just with this weird lighting that makes his skin look pink.
What?
Because you see he's got an afro in that trailer.
I'd like to see a Spider-Man.
At the very end, that's Miles Morales with the afro.
I'd like to see a Spider-Man in an alternate universe where a giant spider got bitten by a radioactive human, and he became human spider.
Hang on.
Yeah, go to and look at the official trailer. Go to 1 minute and 6 seconds. I believe that is supposed to be Miles Morales.
Let me look. Because I thought that Peter Parker shows up at the very end to be like, hey.
Well, he's talking to someone.
Wait, so how many of us are there?
Yeah, that's Miles Morales.
Remember that time that Peter Parker temporarily got like cosmic powers and he fought like a sentinel with 3 heads?
Oh, and if you look,
How many of us are there?
and then it cuts to a shot where you see Miles Morales standing in front of, sitting in front of another dude who's sitting next to him,
I
and the
thought
dude
that was
sitting next to
Peter
him
Parker.
is, yeah, the dude sitting next to him might be Peter Parker 616 because he appears taller. He looks taller.
That might be it. I see. Because he's got the red and blue shirt on. That's
Right.
what threw
But
me
the thing
off.
is that looks like a T-shirt or some pajamas or something.
I-
Because you can see there's like a stitch woven collar around the neck.
Yeah. Well, all right. Clearly, they're doing the whole. There are more than one Spider-Man, though. So
Right. So if you want to have,
I think
So-
I think they're gonna do that storyline.
yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
I think it would have been much simpler if it was just an introduction to Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah, I guess.
It
I don't
just
know how behind it I am, just because I was never all that behind. I was never all that behind the idea of turning Spider-Man into a legacy character at all, to be honest. Even if it was in this alternate continuity. I've
like
never
they already
been a
did it
fan
with
of-
Spider-Man 2099.
Right, but see, it's a little bit different when it's like in the far future and like some sort of weird Blade Runner-y thing, like they did with Batman
Yeah.
Beyond,
Yeah.
where the original superhero is either dead or way too fucking old to do it.
Yeah.
That's one thing. It's another thing entirely when it's like, oh, that Green Lantern, he's not Green Lantern anymore. He's just going to sit over there in the corner. And this new guy, he's, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm just more like I just don't. This trailer is like nothing. It's just like it's like I said, it's like a concept trailer. It's like, hey, maybe we can do Spider-Man in this animation style, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know. You're gonna throw more money into it?
I can't wait to do
Well,
I can't wait to do the animated female Thor movie where the trailer goes,
Oh,
this guy,
boy.
Thor, he's a woman?
let's see. So moving onwards, we have another project that has actually been in development hell for a long time. This was a project that James Cameron has been wanting to make for a long-ass time, but I guess he's just been too busy making those... I was going to say he's too busy making those Avatar movies.
Exploring the bottom of the ocean?
Well, this is something that's not Avatar related, surprisingly, but that's because he had Robert Rodriguez on board to direct this movie instead of him, although he will be producing. This is the live-action adaptation of the post-apocalyptic manga Battle Angel Alita, as we recently got a trailer for Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah, what even
And-
is it? I've never even heard of this.
Here we go.
This property.
I'm not
So this
familiar
is-
with the source material, but I watched the trailer and I was like, that looks pretty fucking cool, and Christoph Waltz looks good in it, so I'm there.
So this was a manga that ran from 1990 to 1995. The series, I'm reading off of Wikipedia, is set in the post-apocalyptic future and focuses on Alita, a cyborg who has lost all of her memories and is found in a garbage heap by a cybernetics doctor who rebuilds and takes care of her. She discovers that there is one thing she remembers: the legendary cyborg martial art Panzerkunst, which leads her to become a hunter-warrior or bounty hunter. The story traces Alita's attempts to rediscover her past and the characters whose lives she impacts on her journey. The manga series is continued in Battle Angel Alita, Last Order, and Battle Angel Alita, Mars Chronicle.
Has this ever been turned into an anime, or is this live action? The first?
Yes, there was a 2-episode OVA released in 1993, incorporating elements from the first 2 volumes of the manga. And let's see, there was a 3-minute CGI movie included in Volume 6 of another Japanese property. Let's see. So yeah, it was an OVA simply titled Battle Angel, 3-minute CGI thing, I guess a video game, and now this movie. And I gotta say, I like the premise. I mean, it seems interesting, and I like Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron's work in general. The thing that really bugs me is those creepy anime eyes they gave Alita, because she's completely CGI while the rest of the movie is in live action, and it's so fucking creepy the way they rendered her face
I
with
think
those.
it's intentional, though.
Yeah,
I
true.
got
Yeah,
the,
because they want they
intentional in the trailer.
go it. Right. Yeah, I understand that. Like, she's not technically a human; she's an artificial
They
being.
want you to be creeped out by her because she's not real. So they want you to go like, Yeah, she walks and talks and acts like a person, but there's that ever so slight lack of life in the eyes and something missing that just puts off people. The uncanny valley personified. I was fine with that. Visually, I thought that worked.
It's another way to approach like that same theme from like Blade Runner or Ghost in the Shell. Because it externalizes the conflict a lot more. When you have an artificial being who's very obviously artificial to the rest of the world, it causes their I suppose persecution would be the right word, to be much more overt.
Because people would be like, oh, kill it with fire because it looks weird, and I'm like, yeah, it does look weird.
Yeah, I guess if it works within the story, I suppose it works. I just wish I didn't have to. If I ever saw this movie, I wish I didn't have to see that always, because I've always hated the idea of translating the big eyes into live action. And everyone probably already knows my thoughts towards characters like Minya, the Dorats, and Little Godzilla.
I have no problem with it because she's designed to look like that. So.
But it's weird because it's realistic, but then it's not realistic. It's like Dylan said, it's the uncanny valley, and it's hitting me really hard now.
Has there been any outrage over this yet? Like what?
Just a lot of people are going ew. Everyone's.
It's not being well received.
They say it looks interesting, but those goddamn eyes are just ew.
But what I mean is,
ew.
Are people angry? Like, oh, it's not the anime, or
no? Like everyone's like, okay, this looks cool. I've been waiting. Actually, people have been waiting for this for a long time because it was announced way back when. So people are like, oh, finally, this is going to be a thing.
I hope this isn't one of those movies where it's like they shot it in like 2009 and they just put the special effects on it now, and now it's ready to go. Because that's always really weird.
Let's see.
That on the shelf for like 5 years, and then they released it this year.
Oh shit! Here we go. The domain battleangelelita.com was registered by James Cameron by 20th Century Fox around June 2000. So James Cameron has had the rights for this movie since 2000. Fox also registered another domain. In April 2003, it was reported by Movie Hole that Cameron had confirmed he would direct a Battle Angel film. Cameron confirmed that a script for the film was in production during an interview in 2003, and it was scheduled to be his next film after Aliens of the Deep in January 2005. So yeah, this has been a thing since the early 2000s. This is the dawn of the new millennium.
Oh my god!
But has the inevitable whitewashing controversy started yet? Because this is, of course, an anime adaptation being produced by non-Japanese people. That's going to cause a lot of stupid people to rage. That has certainly been the pattern thus far. So has any of that surfaced yet that you know of?
Not yet. Not from everyone. Everyone's just like, finally. And that looks weird. Other than that, that's been like the general opinion so far. I wonder if there's something about the source
material that just doesn't make that a thing in this case.
Maybe it's because
people are very. Maybe people who are into that like cyberpunk stuff, maybe they're just happy to finally see this thing come to life.
They're just so desperate they don't care.
Maybe it's just not as universally like beloved, and certainly not as well known as Ghost in the Shell. I mean, I had never heard of it before this trailer popped up on my feed.
Neither have I. I also find it interesting.
Well, we're certainly the ones equipped to talk about it, aren't we?
Maybe the Dalton fan base for this is still so small that they haven't been just infected by assholes yet.
Let's see. So going into the Japanese side of our news stories, we have the announcement of the next Super Sentai series after Uchu Sentai Kyurenja. We have ourselves not one, but two Sentai teams. Next year, we're going to be having
different shows at the same time.
No, two Sentai teams in one, meaning double the action figures.
Wait, so how does that work?
What's the deal here?
Okay, so what we have here was recently announced.
This is different and scary. I don't like it.
This is Kaito Sentai Rupin Ranger versus Keisatsu Sentai Patoranger.
Oh, are they competing teams?
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
So here we go. We have a team of Sentais based off of policemen. That's Patch Ranger, or like Patrol Ranger, Patch Ranger. And we have Rupin Ranger which is kind of maybe that's like a play off of Lupin the Third, which is like a series of like that follows a bunch of criminals, and their subtitles Kaito Sentai versus Keisatsu Sentai. So we have like Phantom Thief Sentai versus Police Sentai.
Cops and robbers. All right.
Yes.
I like that.
So,
that's actually kind of cool.
I'm sure they're going to do nothing with it.
I mean, yeah, it's an excuse for toys, like you said.
Right.
But
Because like I was super excited for Q Ranger, and then I saw it and I was like, nope.
That's how I felt about Ninja.
Right.
Yeah, but here's my question about how this works. How is this structured? Like, do both of these teams exist and operate within the same half-hour programming, or are they two separate television shows altogether that are like linked in
No,
some
they're
sort
going
of
to
weird?
fight each other.
I believe it's one single TV show focusing on two teams going after the MacGuffin. So here's the translated plot synopsis. The Lupin Collection, a collection of treasures with the power to destroy the world. When enemies from another world, the Gyangfu, steal it, two Sentai are employed to stop them. Dancing in the sky, vowing to reclaim the collection, Kaito Sentai Lupin Ranger. With hearts beating fast, vowing to take down the Gyangfu, Keisatsu Sentai Patch Ranger. For the first time in Sentai Hero
What makes
series...
them criminals if they're like trying to stop the bad guys? Do they just don't do it as good?
I guess it's both people racing to get this MacGuffin that the real bad guys are trying.
They
are
strike
trying
me
to
as like
destroy the
Empire, and Rebels, which is interesting. But like they're gonna have to establish like why they're not working together.
It's because
Right. Maybe they want to do the same thing, but they have different goals in mind.
That's fine, but they need to like outline that.
So where it's like this is.
Phil,
Let's see.
you
Here's
see
an
the
image right there.
The Lupin Rangers are loose cannons, and the Pat Rangers do not approve of their methods.
See, that's
This is what I'm
right.
getting.
But like,
they're-
it can't be just like, oh, we don't follow the rules. It needs to be like they have bad methods, like they like blow up innocents and shit, and they don't care, like something like that, like something to
maybe
make them
they're
really
very-
criminals.
Or maybe they're very selfish, where it's like we're only after this special MacGuffin because it closely ties into our family or our lore. And the police Sentai, they're like, oh, we're doing this because it's for the greater
Because
good
we're
of
being
humanity.
paid to.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean that would be interesting.
If Andres is right, and their name is in reference to Lupin the Third. Now, I've never watched any Lupin the Third, but based on the trailers that I saw on Funimation DVDs back in the day, my impression was
See, I have no
always
idea what that is.
My impression was always that Lupin the Third wasn't like, you know, he was a criminal in like the way Han Solo is like a criminal. Like that was always my impression of it. You know, he was always.
Yeah.
I got the
I mean,
feeling
that's
that he
what
was
it'll
supposed to be-
have to be if they're going to be Rangers, right?
Like I got the feeling that he was like a lovable scamp who went out treasure hunting. I mean, from a certain perspective, Indiana Jones is an international criminal, isn't he?
He's protected by the international antiquities law or whatever.
He belongs in a museum. Anyway,
It belongs in my museum and in my pocket. In the form of money. Anyway, I'm an archaeologist. I'm in it for the science. So,
But anyway,
I mean,
anyways,
it probably won't be anything, but it's an interesting concept at the very least, and I can't wait to see what they do with the Power Rangers version.
Oh,
It's like-
yeah.
it strikes me as the kind of premise that would have been really great in the 90s.
Yeah.
But in the current Sentai climate, who knows? Isn't it sad
They'll
that
all
we've
be
reached
like singing and dancing and karaoke and whatever.
Isn't it sad that
And,
we've
wacky, goofy, cartoony sound effects.
Isn't it sad though that we've reached a point in this franchise's history where we're more excited by what the Power Rangers version is going to do than what the
Because it'll probably
Yeah,
be better
you are-
written.
is going to?
You are so right, dude.
Who would have ever?
I don't think the
it would-
suits look different
that
enough
way.
either. That's a mistake.
It's
Yeah,
kind
look
of,
at that.
I find it
Pretty
charming
much
how the visor is shaped to look like a police cap. It's complete with the badge.
But the actual like different teams have like the actual designs I think are too similar. They both kind of have the same aesthetic. Just one has more shit on it.
I think like
What are they
I
gonna
like how
do?
the policemen are white colored, have white as their secondary color, and the thieves have the black as their secondary color.
Like color wise, it makes
Under-
sense. But like I wish they had more. Like they had this. Like one of them should have been animal themed and the other one more tech themed. Something like that.
Andres just say I like how the police are white. Anyway, my question is, what are they going to do to distinguish this team from SPD? Because this just sounds like SPD versus, like, I guess the Pirate Rangers would be a close enough.
I guess it's just cops and robbers. That's going to be it. You're not just going to have cops, but you're having cops and robbers.
Well, they're probably not intergalactic cops. They're just Earth-based cops that happen to be dealing with an alien invasion.
Can they be Keystone cops? Can there be lots of slapstick antics with piano themes?
They'll probably be more like fucking corrupt cops, like fucking cops that are in the pocket of politicians. That's probably what it'll be.
Dude, I would love to see like the fucking Power Rangers version of Training Day. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Or Police Academy.
Police, yeah, that would be the other great. Okay, so there are two versions of this that you do. Either you do it super hard-boiled, and these cops are like fucking, there's like one good cop, and the rest of them are like all fucking corrupt and shit. And then, or you do it like Police Academy. I don't know which one I want more.
See, I feel like what they'll do is they'll make them super squeaky clean, and then the criminals will be the roguish, like, oh, we're assholes, but we're still fighting for the right cause.
Because it's obvious, and then they're bad writers.
But I wish they would do it like the cops are super squeaky clean, but what they're doing is not really super squeaky clean. They use like super overbearing force. They get involved with shit they shouldn't, stuff like that. That's what I would like to see.
I'd love a scene of the monster of the week shouting, "Don't tase me, bro!" right before.
This is the franchise where you're like, oh, I don't want to die, and they just like brutally shoot the fucking monster.
By the way, if you want to see how ridiculous this show, like the newest Sentai can get with their Megazords, here you go. Here's a 5-minute toy commercial compilation.
I don't want to watch this.
I would. How great would it be if the Red Ranger's Battleizer was just a fucking taser and pepper spray?
And the criminals one was just a broken bottle.
Or it's like a SWAT uniform.
No, they did that in SPD. That was the. Really? It wasn't the Battleizer, but it was the super souped up form.
Oh, I see.
The fucking Rita Repulsa of this show is fucking Rodney King.
Oh no. But yeah, that's a thing. We're gonna have cops.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess we can't stop it now, can we?
No.
God, I want a parody of this now. Fucking Police Brutality Ranger sounds like the greatest show ever made.
Brutaru Ranger.
See, you remember that they did that Cops parody with Stormtroopers in the early 2000s? I want that with this show.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we need to write and produce this. I want it to be the Reno 911 of Sentai.
Yes. Oh, this needs to be a comic now.
Just get Jacob Baker to make a bunch of monster suits and just have Andres and other people of his physicality in spandex punching them. It'll be great.
It's like, do you have your registration papers, alien? Oh yes, let me get them. Too late. Oh God.
Is your registration papers in your teeth? Because now they're out.
Go, Brutal Ranger.
So anyways, moving on to the next news, we have our recent announcement. This was from December 1st, where a while back it was announced that that Tsuburaya would be creating an anime follow-up to Gridman, which was a 1993 tokusatsu series that was later adapted in America as Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, in the similar vein as Mighty Morphin
that's
Power
what
Rangers.
That was.
Yeah. So a while back,
I guess why call them Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, right? But man, that's a stupid name.
So a while back, in 2015, there was an animation festival, and Tsuburaya teamed up with an animation company. I believe it was Trigger Studios. They got together and produced an animated short of Gridman that was just a compilation of like the most memorable moments from the show.
I remember that.
And so that was used, I guess, Yeah, and now they use that. I guess they use as a pitch to now debut their new anime for 2018, SSSS Gridman, and they had a trailer.
The problem being
yeah.
The problem being with that short was done in like really cool looking 2D animation that was like super reminiscent of like that Doctor Who anime that's on YouTube, Like it was super cool. It was super cool looking. The new show, on the other hand.
That we only got one still, and it was barely any animation. It was just this weird figure has these glowing Tron lines. So we don't know what's up with this one. But this teaser trailer just gives you a brief rundown of the history of Gridman that I just shared with you guys on Skype, followed by the announcement that Gridman will be coming to Japan on Blu-ray as Gridman the Hyper Agent, which is a complete box set for $330 fucking dollars. Fuck the Japanese DVD Blu-ray economy.
Andres, guess what you're not getting for Christmas, huh?
Now, based on the look,
Santa ain't leaving that in your stocking.
based on the look of the still image that was released, though,
Yeah.
at least it looks like they're ripping off Evangelion instead of Ultraman now. So that's good.
Oh yeah, you're right. It has the glowy parts at night, much like
It
the
also has, like,
first
They better
rebuild
include
movie.
the fucking theme song.
it also
Yeah.
has, and it's not as pronounced, but it also has the fins on the shoulders. It's very...
Oh yeah,
very-
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
This one's 2D, right?
I think it's 2D.
I'm gonna
It looks
watch
2D.
this real quick. If it looks 2D, then I guess
Yeah.
that's all we can ask for, right?
Like,
Hey, if
it
you're wondering-
looks like... It
Yeah.
looks like the fucking Ava Unit 1 or whatever from Evangelion got turned into, like...
the rebuild movies where they were all CGI glowy, though.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like it got turned. It looks like it got turned into a fucking, like, armor for, like, Ultraman X to wear. Like, that's what it looks like.
And also kind of crazy is that you have the theme song, the energetic theme song, playing throughout the history of Gridman, and then as soon as you see the still image for the new Gridman, the music just cuts off abruptly. It's like, oh shit, this might get serious.
I like it. It does look a lot like the new Ultraman, though.
The
Uh-huh.
copyright law in Japan for all of these different heroes that are clearly ripping off Ultraman must be super lax, because you look at Gridman and it just looks like an Ultraman. Like, there's very little...
However,
Right.
this was made by the people who made Ultraman.
A few of them were, right? Like Redman
Yeah.
is also
Red Man's, which now has a new comic by Matt Frank officially.
Oh, and then you have like Zone Fighter is Toho. So
Toho, yeah. Oh, you're thinking of Mirror Man and Fireman.
are those both Tsuburaya?
Yes,
Spectreman's the one that's not.
right. That's another dude.
Oh, and
That's
they were like, hey, we're gonna get away with some shit here.
Oh, don't forget Jet Jaguar.
And Jet Jaguar is also Toho, so I'm sure they. Although after 1970, Toho and Tsuburaya didn't have good relations, did they?
Right, they didn't. I think. Let's see. I knew he was. August Ragone hinted at that they were no longer on good terms.
So by
I
the
forgot
time of
what-
Zone Fighter, they would have been like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, exactly. It's like they were very friendly with each other in the beginning. I could assume. I know people would hate for me to assume with no information to back this up, but I'm
You
assuming
can
that
assume
maybe
all
it's
you want on
possible
this podcast.
that maybe it's possible that by the 70s, Tsuburaya quickly became a financial threat to Toho, because at that point television was on the rise
Yeah, that
and
seems to
movies
be the
were
idea.
on the
that the-
decline.
We know that the Japanese film market was in crisis in the 70s. I mean, look at the performance of Terror of Mechagodzilla, which is
Yeah.
like one of the best of the franchise, and it was just like fucking faltered at the box office. And then apparently that was like a big problem for Japan at the time. It was like what we had this year with our box office, but in Japan in the 70s. So TV would have definitely been perceived as a threat, and that would have been a slowly building anger ever since TV really
Yeah.
became a big threat in the late 50s, early 60s, you know.
And it would be very ironic because Toho helped Tsuburaya get his company started off the ground.
Yeah,
Well,
like
initially they were like, "Yeah, let him
I-
do whatever he wants because they'll keep doing stuff for us." And then, he stopped being there, so they felt like there
Right.
was no reason to cultivate that relationship anymore.
What I like to
Possibly.
imagine is that in like 1965, 66, when Toho was still very friendly with Tsuburaya and helping him, I like to imagine that they had this attitude of like, this isn't a threat, it's fucking TV. Let him go off and do his cute little thing with his Ultraman.
Dumb little box in my living room. Pff. My kids piss on it.
Cut to a decade
What?
later, failing at the box office, and Ultraman is still popular as this shit. Like,
He's not letting his kids piss on his TV anymore.
see where the resentment might come from. My favorite of the ripoffs, aside from Jet Jaguar, is probably Inframan, just because it's the Chinese kung fu version of Tokusatsu.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also a really clever mixture of like Ultraman and Kamen Rider. Like it rips off both simultaneously, and I love it.
Mm.
Zone Fighter is just insane. So it doesn't get much better than that.
And I've been a fan of that. I really want to get into Gridman. Unfortunately, I can't because of how expensive this new Blu-ray is. But I would love to. I always love the premise of Gridman, where it's just Ultraman meets Tron. Like you're
rob a
fighting
Japanese bank. They can't stop you. You know that their police force will be unprepared for your American wiliness. And you can buy it, and then you can review it on the podcast, and they'll know it was you who stole it because like the only one that was taken was that copy.
I guess so.
You'll be discovered, but it'll be worth it for the podcast.
Or it would be a shame if the cop who caught Andres was Americanized and suddenly accused Andres of having a gun and shot him.
Oh, okay, so this was like the one racist cop who was like, he's coming right for me!
The one cop who had a gun, you mean?
That's true, because they don't carry guns.
Like, that would be not really an issue in this country, in Japan. Like, in this country, yeah, definitely.
He has a gun.
Andre should be fucking in armor in this country if he was going to do that. But in Japan, he should do it because nobody could stop him. He'd be an unstoppable killing machine.
And if I had samurai armor that no one was using, I'd be totally unstoppable.
Japanese would be like, just let him have it. It's not worth the trouble.
It's gonna be like, you know that scene from Demolition Man where all the cops had no idea what to do with why am I blanking out on his name?
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, where he was stirring some shit up, and everyone's like, what do we do?
Yeah, he's literally like killing people, and they're like, we don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So Andres is Wesley Snipes in this situation?
Yes. Andres is tax evasion, but murder.
I guess.
That's the meaning of his life right there.
So if we ever make the SOS remake of Demolition Man, we're gonna have Andres play Wesley Snipes.
Without a doubt. You will be Sandra Bullock.
Well, why me?
Because I said so.
So who's gonna play Stallone?
We'll get him to reprise his role.
Stallone's too old now.
Well, you're not a woman, so you know what? We're bending some rules here. It's fine.
I mean, I can still punch, I can kick, I can still do what I gotta do.
Not too hard though. Just easy.
Not too hard.
You gotta be
it's
easy.
A little hard.
I'm getting a little wiser in my years. You know.
Yeah, and I decided to stop being greedy and lazy. You know.
Yeah. But look at how dark my hair is. I'm still.
But by the time we actually find money to
Guardians
finance
of the Galaxy for 2 seconds. It's funny that like, if you were gonna try and explain Sly Stallone to a kid now, you'd be like, remember that guy who was in Guardians of the Galaxy for 2 seconds?
Holy shit, you're right.
And like that's how you would have to explain it. And they'd be like, oh yeah, he's a guy, and I'm like, oh you child, you don't know the terrible world you're missing, the terrible beautiful world of the 1980s.
Yep.
Wait until you see Over the Top. Your world will never be the same.
Yeah.
Over the Top. Show them Rocky 5.
Yeah, that's the pinnacle. Oh.
Let's see.
That's the next movie we're going to do a commentary on, Rocky 5. No, we should do 4. 4 would be a blast.
Yep. Hearts on fire.
Holy shit, Paulie's going to fuck a robot. He slaps its ass at one point. I remember that.
He does?
Yeah, he does. He orders it around like a woman.
How do you remember this, Bill?
Because I burned it into my memory. Paul... You know, Paulie had that thing upstairs, like, fucking bend over, bitch. Fucking ripping the circuits out, like, trying to make an entryway.
Wait. Wait,
Polly, you are destroying my motor circuits.
so what happened to the robot during Creed?
It was pregnant, and delivering Polly's child in secret. Rocky will watch over the boy until he is old enough to challenge his father.
Hey, now there's a sequel to Creed I want to see. Bill, you can write it.
Thank you. You distill me with great honor. What were we talking about? What sparked this conversation?
Robot sex.
We were talking about some.
We can talk more about that.
Well, whatever it was we were talking about, we were finished with it. Oh yeah, we were talking about Gridman. So moving on from Gridman, we're going to talk about another anime, talking about Ninja Batman, or
this
as
came
known
out
in
of
America,
fucking nowhere.
Batman Ninja. Yeah.
When was this announced?
This last week. Last week.
So
it was announced last
this
week.
trailer was the announcement.
Yes.
That's
this
so
trailer was
rare
the
these days, where they just release a trailer for a thing. Like, here, this is a thing, and it's like,
usually
oh, all
we would
right.
have usually we'd get a trailer for the trailer.
Or usually there's like an announcement a year before, and there's like some concept art.
Yeah. But no, instead we're going to be getting Batman Ninja, an upcoming movie that is, set to be released next year. And we got ourselves we have Takashi Okazaki, the creator of Afro Samurai, who is the character designer for this film. We also have the animation department.
Oh, it's a movie?
Yes, it's an animated film.
I thought it was a series. All right.
No, this is CGI would be too expensive for them, I guess. Or this is just going to be a very
I don't
wild
understand the economy anymore. Well, is there even money to make animated movies anymore, like of any kind? Like,
I have no idea, but apparently in this story, it kind of takes place in the usual, world where you have Batman and his team fighting a bunch of villains. They all somehow get sent back in time to feudal Japan.
It's
However,
Teenage
Batman
Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, but with Batman.
Yeah. Right, so Batman, he's the last person to arrive in feudal Japan. Meanwhile, the Joker and his bad guys were all sent there first, so he had the chance to take over the city, take over Japan, learn to become samurai, and now the rest of the Bat family was there waiting for Bruce so that they can all get together and take over and defeat Joker and his gang. So we have like Joker, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Gorilla Grodd, even though he's a Flash villain.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't understand Grodd being there. I'm like, why is he a Batman villain? What does he have? What problem does he have with Batman?
Maybe the Japanese just like big hairy apes.
Hey, sure. Send Dave over. It'll be very popular.
Oh, motherfucker!
we have what was it? Two-Face, Penguin, and along Batman's side we have Alfred. We have
how did all these people get sent back in time?
That's the thing. I have no fucking clue. We see
Where is the TARDIS parked?
We see one giant purple glowing machine that explodes, and all of a sudden Batman's in Japan.
It would be better if this was like the Return of Bruce Wayne, where Batman gets flung back in time, and he just has to be Batman in the time period that he got thrust back into, and there's no other villains or anything. Or
but that wouldn't be exciting enough for the Japanese.
Or what would have been really better
if it was just.
What if Batman was in feudal Japan? Like, what if a Japanese guy decided to be Batman in feudal Japan?
That's what I was
10 times more interesting.
That was what I was hoping it would be, because they've done that before, Gotham by Gaslight or
that's an animated movie that's coming out and looks thoroughly okay.
Numerous times that Batman has been like a medieval knight, Dark Knight, ha ha ha. It's.
I mean, Batman Beyond is an example of this idea.
It's not a new concept. I think I would have preferred that actually, but instead we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, but with Batman, which is a premise that sounds like it should sound awful, but actually kind of sounds great.
And here's the official poster.
I'm just super bummed out by the trailer. I didn't like it at all.
I thought it was good.
I'm not terribly excited about it myself.
I mean, it's made by the same people who did the animated intros for the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime, and it does have that weird, jerky, stuttering frame rate that we were just talking about with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. However, I think the designs themselves, there's like enough visual stuff going on that's allows me to look past it, I think. Maybe.
But it
still doesn't bother me.
It just doesn't really grab me in any way. There's nothing about this that looks like, oh, that's interesting and cool on its own.
Maybe it's because we've been spoiled by a lot of Japanified superheroes as of late.
This feels too obvious. Like if you're gonna do this, like I feel like there was like I said, there's a million other directions to do a Japanese version of Batman, and this was not the one to go, in my opinion. You know,
the fucking Batman from the 40s or whatever was a better direction than this. No, but I think it's just I'm sick of all of these. Like, first it was Godzilla Monster Planet, and I was like, oh, that's going to be CG? That's really disappointing, considering that I waited my entire fucking life for a fucking Godzilla anime, and then it turns out to be CG. And then there was, what was the other one in between that and this? There's another thing that's coming out that's CG that bummed me out.
Ultraman.
Yes, that was the next thing I was going to talk about, actually.
Yeah. And then this was the straw that broke my back, and I was like, can we not contribute to the death of 2D anymore, please? Can we just... It's time to stop.
Well, I just think we have to get to a place where we just go, it doesn't look good. The money is worth it to just make it look good. You know?
Yeah. Like, I'm not even saying that you can't do CG animation. Fucking yeah, do it. But does everything have to be CG? Like, I guess
it's made that Japan is finally getting around the era that we went through with Reboot and Beast Wars, where they're like, if it's CG, it's automatically better because it's new and different.
I guess, but see, I'm coming from the perspective where I haven't even liked the way that anime had looked for a long time anyway. I've thought that it's too polished for a long time. I'm a big proponent of like the 90s like gritty style of animation from like, your DVDs and your Triguns and your Cowboy Bebops and your Big O's. Like that's what anime looks like to me. So I was already coming from a place of like, oh, this anime today looks too clean.
Unfortunately, that shit don't sell nowadays in Japan. They want something bright, poppy, cute, and colorful.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Anime has seen its best days, unfortunately, I think. But
yeah. Modern day anime can be rather sad. The environment of modern day anime is really sad, where creators aren't really that allowed to experiment and go beyond what they want to do. Instead, they just have to abide by they cannot do what they want to do. They have to do they can't do what they want. They have to do what the fans want. And if the fans want more of the same in Japan, then they have to abide by that.
Well, it's more like it's not like crowd pleasing. It's just like, well, it is, but it's not even like they're looking to specifically what people want. They're like, what makes money? Just make more of that. Nothing else.
Yeah. Right. And I have a feeling that when it comes to Japanese entertainment, they pump this shit out at a much faster rate than America does.
Mm.
So it's like work. Draw. Right. No breaks.
Well, anybody who follows the production schedule of any anime knows that it's fucking awful to be an animator in Japan.
Oh yeah. Like, just talk to, especially if like you're a manga writer, the writer of Hunter x Hunter, he is infamous for going on huge breaks because he gets burned out so much that it becomes detrimental to his health. So he would take like a year break from his manga. It's like, that's it. Here's another break. I know you hate it when I do this, but trust me, if I don't do this, I'm gonna kill myself if I keep doing this. And this dude is lucky because Hunter x Hunter happens to be a very popular manga series.
And there are a lot of these days. There are a lot of Western people who have gone over to Japan to get into the animation industry over there because they're like our generation who grew up with a lot of anime, and so it seems like the dream, but it's literally one of the worst things you can do with your life.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's the most grueling fucking thing ever.
And you have the... Go ahead.
I think that's also part of the reason that they've gone to CG, just because there's less of that. You don't have
to redraw the same shit over and over again. You just have one character model, and that's all you get.
Yeah, I'm sure that also has a lot to do with it, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. Another thing I had with the trailer, and this is less a problem and more just a weird question. Aesthetically, looking at like the design
for
like
Ultraman,
what Batman.
Oh, Batman. No. We're still on Batman. Okay.
Of like what Batman is wearing, like in the fucking
the samurai armor.
Yeah, like should it be called? Shouldn't it be called Samurai Batman?
Yeah,
or
it's
Batman
not a ninja.
Samurai?
Yeah. Right,
It looks
right.
it looks much more Tom Cruise than it does fucking, the
He's
Shredder.
like, all right, time to appropriate your culture, Japan.
But stylistically,
Yeah.
like I kind of like it, like all the way they've translated the design of Batman to the Japanese style. Like that's all fine. It's just because of the CGI frame rate and everything. It just looks really weird.
Also, what is up with Red Helmet's design? Because I know we have Robin, Nightwing, Red Robin, and then you have this weird Red Hood who's wearing like the Cat in the Hat's hat.
Yeah, that's weird. I saw that and I was like, that's not Red Hood, is it? And I'm like, oh no, it is. They've got the whole Bat family there.
Yeah.
So I guess
Catwoman.
I don't know why Batman's like, yeah, Jason,
But you know what's weird?
Jason, you're cool. You're a murderer. Help me out.
And what's weird is that you have Red Hood here, but no Batgirl.
Oh, she's not there?
Yeah, look at the poster.
Is she not gonna be
Everyone's there.
Oracle? Is she not going to be Oracle then?
I don't know.
Well, there's no support for wheelchairs in feudal Japan. Come on.
Well,
I mean, Alfred is there.
She can sit in the base then and fucking hack into the feudal Japan stuff.
Hack into
They
the
have
scrolls,
computers
Oracle.
to hack back then, Bill.
No, there's scrolls. She can hack the scrolls.
I can't think of a worse place to be a crippled person. Okay, there's no wheelchairs. There's not even a bed to lay on. You're on the floor, just eating rice all day. Like that's.
Sounds exciting to me.
But you don't have the option of stopping. Like if you or me were lying on the floor eating rice all day, we would have the option of being like, "This is dumb. I'm gonna go fucking watch paint dry."
Do
instead."
literally anything else.
But she doesn't have that option. It's just paper walls and sadness.
Uh-huh.
Sounds exciting to me.
I guess.
So yeah, I mean, I probably won't watch this, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen the Batman 66 movies, which I'm way more interested in than something like this. So I would watch those before I'd watch this.
Uh-huh.
I'm just interested to see what William Shatner playing Two-Face is like.
Well, I want to hear like how they did it and what the tone of it's like.
Uh-huh.
That's like perfect casting. If I had been in charge of Batman 66 back in 1966 and I had done a version of Two-Face on that show, I probably would have cast William Shatner. Like that's great. You know?
Yeah. And anyways, as per your guys' thoughts on the Ultraman anime announcement based on the manga that we all loved.
Yeah, I was excited. I was excited about it when I found out it was a thing, and then I saw that little comic. Well, it wasn't a Comic-Con, but
teaser,
like, whatever that teaser was at that convention, and I was like, oh, this looks like fucking more animatic concept, unfinished stuff.
Yeah, it's just
like
one
Batman.
character model punching the ground, running.
It looks like a motion. It looks like a motion comic. Or
yeah, there was
even
parts that
better,
looked like
better, like that Iron Man animated movie from like 2007. Do you remember that? The Invincible Iron Man.
It doesn't look that bad.
It verges. It's verging.
I don't know. It's okay.
like-
I don't love it.
Just like Godzilla and Batman and I guess Black Spider-Man. I'm a little bummed that it's CG, but at the same time, we haven't really seen enough to make a judgment on it like we have with some of those other properties. It's just the character model running at the screen. So I don't even know if it's going to be fully CG. Like it might be cool, imagine.
Didn't they
and I'm
confirm that already in the press release that it's going to be fully CG?
Did they? I don't
See. Yeah,
it's
3D CG.
Okay. Well, that sucks. I don't read things. But what I was going to say is how much better... Okay, well, let's take this angle then. How much better would it have been if the entire world and all the characters and everything were 2D, except when they step into the Ultraman armor and then they go 3D?
That would have been fine.
Ooh, I'm not a fan of whenever they blend CG and 2D together. I mean, look at Transformers.
I would rather have that than fully 3D, though.
If they just want the Ultraman armor to do that. Like, I mean, that's what they kind of did partially that in the Evangelion movies.
Yeah, but at least they cel-shaded it enough to blend in well enough with the 2D
environment. If it looked like that would be cool.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Basically, we've already gotten there with, like, Dragon Ball, where the characters are still 2D, but all of, like, the effects and shit are 3D, you know?
Yeah. Let's see. So we have ourselves Kenji Kamiyama, who has worked on Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, Eden of the East, Napping Princess, and Shinji Aramaki.
Ooh, what an exciting adventure! A napping princess. Ooh.
Who worked on Appleseed, Space Pirate, Harlock, Starship Troopers, Traitor of Mars. Both will be directing the 2019 anime. And we have Projection IG, who worked on Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, Eden of the East, and Napping Princess. And Sola Digital Arts, who worked on Appleseed and Starship Troopers Invasion, Starship Troopers, Traitor of Mars, producing the 3D CG. So we have one... let's see. They just called it an anime, so we don't know if it's an actual TV show. But if it's... Let's see... Everything else is just a synopsis.
I hate the discrepancy there nowadays. See, like everything it turns out to be a movie. It's not even a series.
Let's see. It just says anime.
Realistically, it needs to be a series. I've only read the first 3 volumes, and I'm super behind, and I've got 4 sitting on my shelf for months now. But just from what I've read so far, it definitely needs to be a series. There's like a whole world going on there. I don't know. Unless they did it as a series of films, and the first one is just like that first volume of the manga, that would be okay, I guess. You can expand on it a little. But,
let's see.
Plot threads from volume 2 with like the pop star and shit. I don't know.
So all we know is that it will come out 2019, so we're still far away from this shit.
Wow, yeah, that's a long way off. Why even bother announcing it?
Well,
that's like when they released that Justice League trailer in 2016, and you're like, what?
Ooh, yeah.
The greatest thing about this story, though, isn't even anything that Super Raya did. It's something that we fucking did, you guys. The last fucking podcast, we were on here talking about, man, I would really like an anime adaptation of the Ultraman manga. I think the Ultra manga would make a great anime adaptation. I do believe. And then fucking the next day,
we make the best predictions.
The next day, like Bill posted that video, and I look at my Facebook feed, and it's like Ultraman anime coming in 2019. I was like, holy shit!
Great,
yeah.
Scott.
I guess because now that they have the original distribution rights to the original Ultraman, they're able to make something like this and market it to America. Well, then again, they've already been able.
Like I said, they can do whatever. Like we said last time, they can do whatever they want now.
Yeah, but then I just realized they already have the manga officially translated in America, despite that manga featuring the original characters from Ultraman. But I guess they're talking about the TV shows. They still own the rights to the characters, just not the original TV shows, which they now do own.
Yeah. What's weird is, based on what you've told us about Japanese culture, I doubt that many of the people who might watch this anime have even seen Ultraman 66, which is weird.
But they're definitely aware of it because Ultraman is still in the public conscience.
But it's weird because there are plot details that kind of necessitate you at least being kind of familiar with Ultraman 66.
But it's kind of like the general gist of what every Ultraman show is. So anyone who is watching Ultraman G or Ultraman X or Ultraman Ginga right now, they probably already know, okay, Ultraman is a dude who's from space, who
it feels like The Force Awakens, where you have to know that Star Wars, or in this case Ultraman, is a thing, but you don't have to know anything in detail about it, you know?
I guess
you just have to know that it already existed.
Yeah, kind of like how Americans see Superman.
I guess that's true. I guess the only thing that you really need to know specifically happened in the original Ultraman is that Hayata's memories got erased at the end of the original series. Which they explained.
That's a good point. See, that's maybe one thing that I had to know from you guys going into it. Otherwise, I would have been confused by that.
But they explained it in the manga, so it's less of a... Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I think the first volume does a good job at explaining the lore of the original Ultraman for those uninitiated.
Yeah, I'm really glad personally that I saw the show before I read the manga. Anyone who hasn't done both either out there, do that. Do it that way. But yeah. But yeah, I guess it does explain itself well enough to where it wouldn't be the hugest problem in the world.
Yeah. And let's see. So I guess moving on to the last story, which is something that could have had Ultraman featured in it, but it sadly will not, is the new official trailer for Ready Player One, the newest Steven Spielberg movie based on the book of the same name. We got a bevy of cameos as we have this movie that takes place deep into the future in the year 2045. America is kind of like a shithole, and everyone spends their life living in this virtual reality.
What an impossible future, America being a shithole, huh?
And
right.
everyone...
Like, realism, Hollywood. Come on.
In order to escape this this hellhole, almost everybody on Earth plays this virtual reality online game, where it's kind of like anything you can imagine you can have in the game. Kind of like imagine Gary's mod, or like any sort of mod you would get for any of your existing video games on PC. You know, if you want to drive the DeLorean, there you go. If you want to pilot the fucking Gundam, you can. If you want to have a race and want to have the Batmobile, you can do that. Or if you want to play as Tracer from Overwatch, you can do that. If you want to be Chucky, you can be Chucky from the Child's Play movies. There's like a lot of this is just like the book. The book itself has a lot of pop culture, 80s, 90s movie characters in there. So or movies and TV characters in there. So for the movie, you have a whole bevy of licensed characters, kind of like Roger Rabbit, all thrown in there, including the Gundam, which made me happy. Unfortunately,
fucking King Kong's in there.
King Kong's in there, yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like there might be doing a lot of heavy editing for the ending of the book, from what I've heard from Monstrosity's Tokusatsu vlogs, Matt from that channel explained that the ending of that book, spoilers, takes place on a level known as Planet Tokusatsu. And in Planet Tokusatsu, the main rival or the main antagonist, he pilots Mechagodzilla. In order to fight Mechagodzilla, the main protagonist becomes Ultraman. And so
what I'm gathering from all this is that I need to read this fucking book.
Yes.
I've never read this book. I didn't even really know it was a thing before this movie was announced.
Yeah,
to be
this
honest.
is like the Battle Angel again.
Yeah.
I had heard the title. I had no idea what it was until like the movie started coming out, and then people on the internet were like, "Oh my god!"
It looks like another Spielberg movie that's like on the verge of like potentially being fascinating or a total boring mediocre mess. You know, like it could be just like, all right, it's Steven Spielberg trying to make a modern day pop culture epic, or it could be like, oh, Spielberg made a modern day pop culture epic. Cool. Like it could.
He wants to do another Jurassic Park or another E.T.
It definitely feels like he's trying to go, hey guys, I'm back. It definitely feels that way.
Because he's done nothing but like a lot of historical dramas recently. And by the way, I sent you an image of fan art of the ending of that book.
I really love the premise, though. I love the premise of this virtual reality game, where if it were a real thing,
it wouldn't be Kiyu, though. I mean, it would be the '70s Mechagodzilla, presumably.
Wait, so Leo Pardon is in it too?
I believe so. Yeah, in the book, I believe so.
That's fucking crazy. That's like a multi-layered reference.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hang out with this author and like have drinks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like a fascinating individual and somebody who would be right up our alley.
Do you like Gamera?
What's a Gamera?
You're like, oh, you bitch.
Wait, where's Ultraman? I see a member of the Science Patrol, but where's Ultraman?
He's about to transform into Ultraman. We see the beta capsule he's grabbing onto.
Is that Mjolnir?
So he becomes a member of the Science
maybe
before he transforms. That's such a layered reference. I love it. This is like, God, this movie is going to be like the fucking intro animation for Daikon, but a movie.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
It also feels very Daikon-y.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm excited to see it. I just hope that,
Please tell me that it will feature Twilight by ELO. No,
I just hope that it is engaging story-wise and it isn't just, look at all the references and the crazy effects and the crazy world.
I'm not sure if this is official art or fan art, but either way, this artwork looks really nice for the book.
This trailer finally fucking hooked me. Like, I had seen the other trailer that's been out forever now, and I was like, okay, this is an interesting premise. Iron Giants walking around, that's cool, you know. But I hadn't read the book, and you know, Steven Spielberg's hit or miss for me these days, so I wasn't really sure about it. Then I watched this trailer, and fucking King Kong jumped off the Empire State Building, and I was like, I'm watching this movie.
He's
like,
huge too. Like, he's way bigger than he ever was in the fucking movies where he's climbed the Empire State Building.
I was like, I'm going to whatever the first showing I can get to will be, because this looks fucking awesome.
Yeah. And it does it sucks that you're not going to get Ultraman in it because apparently he has a very strong emotional part in the movie. I don't know. Maybe the main character's grandfather or father was like, son, back in my day, my favorite character was Ultraman. And maybe the main character's
his
like,
grandfather was killed by Ultraman. Like he had a heart attack while watching the show.
He's like, you know what, grandfather? I'm going to become Ultraman to finally beat my enemy because he reminds me of you, Grandpa. I could be completely wrong at that. I know I'm wrong. In fact, I'm 99% sure that is not how it goes in the book.
I understand why they didn't do it though, just because.
Right. Oh, and this movie was made during the whole Chayo incident thing.
Well, that too, but it also seems like this movie is aimed squarely at which is an Eric Cartman way of saying squarely, at people of our generation and what we're nostalgic for. Now,
right.
We know...
No one is nostalgic for Ultraman.
Now, we know who Ultraman is. We love Ultraman. Yeah. Bill thinks he's a robot, but we all agree Ultraman's a pretty...
He's a guy in a suit. I know.
He's pretty dope.
We know about the Ultraman, but most people in our generation... Nah. So, yeah... Iron Giant, and
it'll be Optimus Prime versus the Iron Giant at the end.
and Gundams, because people from our generation liked Wing, and so that those are all fine. And
King Kong, that's I was gonna say that I'm so glad they included the original Gundam in there.
Yeah, and then King Kong because
Warner Brothers and they have the rights to it.
Millennials know who King Kong is because there have been remakes of it recently. If not, they probably wouldn't, unfortunately. But it's.
I wonder if Mechagodzilla will still be in there because it's Warner Brothers and they have a relationship with Toho.
I don't know because again,
how many made this movie?
It's Universal, isn't it?
Oh,
okay, so there's no way they can.
Oh, if it's Universal, then definitely not. But I thought it was.
Oh, I know it's Emblem Entertainment, which by the way, it's really nice seeing that logo again.
Even if it were possible for them to get the rights, I don't know if they would use Mechagodzilla. Just because, again, how many people...
this is definitely Warner Brothers. You're right. You guys are right.
How many people of our age group who aren't a member of the very specific types of communities that we are members of are really itching for a Mechagodzilla reference?
They're gonna know what Mechagodzilla is.
But then again, they have the Iron Giant. Do most people know the Iron Giant?
Yes. Okay. The Iron Giant was once an underrated film. Not anymore, good sir. It is so. It's one of those instances where it has been talked about for so long as an underrated film that it is no longer an underrated film. People know how great the Iron Giant is.
See, but I feel like Mechagodzilla is so ingrained in the pop culture ether that it doesn't matter if they know who he is; they'll know what it is. And that's all that matters in something like this.
I think you're overestimating Mechagodzilla's mass appeal. Godzilla, sure. But Mechagodzilla.
But I feel like because people will put the fucking connection together. I feel like the concept has been made fun of so many times in cartoons and stuff like that. That's something that people know, even if they don't know anything about it.
Honestly, they'd be better off putting Mecha Streisand in there. I'm sure Bob Barker.
Yeah, well, that's why people would probably know what Mechagodzilla is, at least vaguely.
Mm-hmm.
No, they'd probably look at it and say, "Hey, that kind of looks like that thing from South Park," because they wouldn't even grasp that South Park was referencing something. That's a genius.
I don't think you're giving people enough credit there.
Also, according to the fan art, apparently they didn't have Mazinger Z in there, but they had the female version of Mazinger Z, which was
there's a
cool, I
female
guess.
version of Mazinger Z.
Yeah, let me look for her name.
There's a female version of a robot.
Yes,
they identify genders to robots.
You're a fan of Transformers, aren't you? You know RC.
Well, no, but I mean, they're like sentient things.
Okay,
is it Mazinger Z like a piloted robot?
Yeah, but it's a robot that's made to look like a woman. Okay. And let's see, what was her name? Minerva X. So we have Mazinger Z and Minerva X.
If Marvel can swap the gender of an actual character from Norse mythology, I think Japan can have a female robot.
Right. I mean, it's just putting tits on what it was already there, so I guess that's
You're right.
fine.
That's essentially Minerva X.
Good.
She's Mazinger Z, but with a feminine body.
Can we talk about the real thing we want to talk about with this movie? The fucking poster that they released as well with the long leg. Did you guys see this?
No. Can you send me the poster?
You didn't see this? They released a poster
Uh-huh.
Are we still talking about Ready Player One?
Yeah. They released a poster with the trailer, and
Uh-huh.
the main character's leg is like insanely long. Just look it up.
Oh,
Just Google
okay,
it.
okay, I see it. Oh my God, you're right.
It's
What
so
the fuck?
It's like Mr. Fantastic. It's fucking crazy.
I'd like
What
to say
the
that
fuck?
I'm against the Disney Fox merger. That's looking more and more like it's going to happen. But if it leads to a future where this game is an actual thing, Disney can buy all of the companies. I would love. I would love to go.
Essentially, just make a virtual reality version of Disney Infinity.
I would love this game where I can just like be Emperor Palpatine and shock people with Superman right in the nuts. Like, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Are you guys seeing the leg? Like, this is insane.
I'm looking at the leg
I'm
right now. It's
staring at it, and that just doesn't make sense. Like, who did this?
So I guess legs do it for you, Bill? That's your fetish?
No, they don't do it. That's the problem.
This leg is not doing it for me.
What?
Let's see. Even Kotaku is covering it. The internet's having some fun with Ready Player One's new poster.
But it's...
This man is built like a fucking giraffe. Like,
yeah, well, it looks like he was supposed to be like a rung down, and they just forgot to bring his leg up. Like they just left it, and they just extended the leg to go. It's very strange. He looks like a Mune from Star Wars.
I didn't realize that Ready Player One was a fucking backdoor pilot for Plastic Man, but apparently that's a thing that's happening. Like, what? What?
Somebody fucked up.
Just look at this article and just scroll down this article to look at all the jokes people have made.
It's something like that looks that long. What the fuck?
Someone photoshopped his face with Elastigirl from The Incredibles.
Yeah, somebody did a bad thing there.
How does this get past Steven Spielberg?
He's probably not very happy. I wonder if they're gonna post like an amended version of it, like if they would even bother, like if they would try to fix it.
In a world where people are judged by whether their legs are the same length, one man is about to prove that what matters is the length of your heart.
The length of your leg, seemingly more so.
But he's about to find out that having a long leg isn't that easy.
Oh my God. Who thought this was an okay thing to do?
Somebody on Twitter was like, did Steven Spielberg make the poster himself?
Steven Spielberg has been making movies since the early to mid '70s. You would think, hey, let's check out the poster art. What would have occurred to him at some point?
Get some Drew Struzan, inspired stuff in there.
Especially considering that Amblin is like his company, so he must have approved this.
I really want to. I almost want to make this the lock screen on my phone. Like it's so captivating. I just want to keep looking at it to try and figure.
Such a glorious fuck up.
It's like who thought that was natural?
Could you set it up as the lock screen? If it was the lock screen on your phone, could you set it up to where you have to like swipe up the leg to unlock your phone?
Somebody did it already. I'm looking at it. Somebody already did exactly what I was suggesting. You know what else it is? It looks like, it looks like he could almost like stand on top of his other leg. Like that's what it looks like. Like it's 2 legs worth of leg. Man.
Well, now we know what Jack Skellington was like before he died. So that's
this is it's a prequel to that. Stretch Armstrong.
I always assumed that it was Johnny Depp's character from Corpse Bride died and eventually became Jack Skellington, but no, it's this kid. It's this fucking kid.
Well, outside, I gotta see this movie now to find out what happened to this kid's fucking leg. I mean, that's one of the only things really getting me in. No, I mean, it looks interesting and inventive. I'll definitely have to give it a go.
I mean, this is, I haven't read the book. This could be a plot point, He could have a sort of weird genetic mutation in which he has one freakishly long leg.
Maybe the Oasis is starting to cause mutations in people's legs.
There's an idea. I don't know if it's a good one, but it's an idea.
Hey, this seems like Steven Spielberg going, "Oh, I'm an old man. I don't understand kids today. The internet." Maybe that's his commentary on like the cell phone cancer scare that people have been talking about for years.
VR will give you weird long legitis. I'm like, all right. So I played this VR, and all of a sudden I'm going to be really good at basketball.
Your leg will literally be longer than your body.
Only one of your legs, which makes it useless and also very hard to walk with.
You're basically just designed for walking up ladders all day.
Can you imagine if this was an actual disease and then you have to walk around every day with like a stilt on one leg?
You have to wear a giant boot on the other foot to make them even. Be very awkward at parties.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andres, what else do you what else are you gonna try and make us care about this week?
Nope, that is it, my friend. That is it.
You just had that long leg for us at the very end. That was it. That was our last offering. Was just
I had that sexy leg just like peeking out from underneath the ladder.
You just dropped it. Look at that. What do you make of that? And I'm just like, oh my god.
I mean, listen, if legs are your thing, then I have to imagine that's pretty. That's
as much leg as you can handle.
You know, when people say legs for days, I don't think they meant it literally, but my God.
That's how long it's going to take to fix it in Photoshop.
Andres, all of this news was pretty vague.
It was a little vague. Especially that Batfleck thing. That was pretty vague. It might be confirmed, maybe. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's what we enjoy.
But yeah, I didn't do anything vague. I just say I got you trailers. That's not vague.
It was a play on words, Andres. The fact that we're calling
that was a oh yeah, vague news. Okay.
It's not funny if I explain the joke, Andres.
Because you were too subtle.
So you're saying I was vague?
That shows just how in love we are with that new title that Andres has already forgotten it, and that we didn't get it. Oddly worded joke. So
we may or may not care about the new title.
So there you have it.
Care about the new title.
News.
Well, I think we all are very knowledgeable and wise about what's going on in the world now. Thank you for that important primer on real-world events. Thanks for getting real with us, Andres.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how's the situation in North Korea?
Well, I'm still alive, and that's all that counts for me.
So Iraq isn't at war with the Islamic State anymore, huh?
Andres, you can see North Korea from your house, right? Can you see do a little spying on them for us? You know, break out the binoculars.
Let's see.
You're good buddies with fucking Kim Jong Un, right?
Let's see. Nope, I don't see any suspicious activity. Nope. All right. Yeah. Nope.
You sound like
nothing.
that guy in that fucking Bigfoot police call that was popular on the internet for all those years, where it's like, oh my god, he's staring at me from behind my house. You gotta come and help me.
I just imagine Andres like spying on North Korea from his rear window, Jimmy Stewart style.
Oh God!
Kim Jong Un in his window.
Looked at this.
In his window, like changing.
But nobody in America believes him. He's like, it's a missile silo. You gotta get over here.
They're capturing American celebrities and putting them in a dungeon.
I can't stop them. I've got vertigo.
I've got to teach my class. I don't have time to stop North Korea. Andres Perez, teacher, spy. Questionably good at both.
But not a tinker or a tailor or a soldier.
Just two. He's just got the two. What else do you guys have to say before we wrap this week's episode up?
Let's see. I recently created a new fan Facebook page for my upcoming comic, Primal Warrior DRACO AZUL. There you can also find a link to a good friend of mine, D-Man1954. He did a special promo video revealing to everyone the first 5 pages of the comic, including the inks, the pencils, the sketches, and the finished colors for the first 3 pages, as well as a synopsis of the story and a little bits of concept art for for the characters and the monsters and the mech itself. Also, I am planning on having a very small art gallery at the end of my comic, and I just got the last piece of art from my fourth artist. The artists I have on board are Chris Martinez from Night of the Fire Beast. I have Frankie Washington, Robot Gatakomatsu. I have Denny Roth. You may know him from Marshall Star, the webcomic. And my last person who I worked with this week or last week is, you may know him on DeviantArt as Winter Gaia or Raptor Gear. He did the very first ever fan art of DRACO AZUL back in 2015, and so I commissioned him to do like a remake of that fan art he did of My Robot versus Robot Gatakomatsu with James Biggie's permission. So I hope you guys will look forward to that mini art gallery where you have different artists do their take on DRACO AZUL along with the rest of the comic itself. Other than that, I also have a new review that I did with Matt Denian, the kaiju thriller novelist behind such novels as Chimera, Scourge of the Gods, and Atomic Rex. We did an analysis on the the influential film noir movie, Double Indemnity. So you can check that out. And I did an upcoming video. I did a future video. I recently recorded a video of Kaiju's Corner with my animator, Crooked Lore, where he and we talk about we go more in depth with Batman Ninja a lot and go into selective history of American characters being reinterpreted in Japanese media.
Oh, I love shit like that because it's a fucking wacky, wild world.
Oh yeah. Although not quite as wacky as you'd think, because unlike American, as we recently discovered through our retrospective, unlike most American adaptations where they take the characters and make them American and put them in an American setting, most of these adaptations are rather faithful to the American characters. They just happen to make up an excuse to bring them from America to Japan instead of making them Japanese to begin with.
Oh, like Iron Man and Wolverine and all that stuff?
Exactly. You've got your few exceptions like Powerpuff Girls Z and Japanese Spider-Man, but other than that, most of them have been surprisingly faithful. It's just there's that wacky concept that they throw in there.
Right. Well, definitely look in the description for a link to Andres' comics actual page, Primal Warrior, DRACO AZUL, the Facebook page, as well as the Sons of Serizawa network homepage where you can get all those videos and anything that we put up. Lots of stuff to look forward to. The Christmas season is coming, obviously, and we're going to be doing a review on the new Star Wars movie as soon as we all see it. So look for that in the next couple episodes. But otherwise, we're going to go back to basics next week, do some news, do some cryptid stuff. I want to do some more commentaries on actual, cryptid TV shows. But I don't know what series we're going to do next. So if anybody in the comments wants to see a specific series for me to pull episodes from, go ahead and throw that out because I'm going to be batting around a few ideas in the next 2 weeks. So if anybody has any suggestions, that'll be helpful. But, yeah, if there's nothing else to bring to the floor, I think that'll do it.
Look out very soon for Bill and I's addendums to Talking Apes.
Right. We have to do that.
War for the Planet of the Apes is on home video. I think we both have our copies
I
of it
have
now.
it. I've rewatched today, yeah.
And in the very immediate future, we will be recording that, as well as another addendum that we did that may surprise you. So,
right.
So look out for that whenever the fuck we have it recorded.
It is basically our version of the addendum of Kong, but for Planet of the Apes. We're doing everything we didn't do in the actual series proper. So look out for that in the next couple weeks. And the next episode the episode after the next episode of DFOS will connect to Addenduming Apes as well. So some Planet of the Apes stuff coming up, some Star Wars stuff. It'll be a wild time. And until then, I am Bill.
Oh wait, Bill.
What?
Aren't you forgetting another announcement of yours?
Oh God, Dave, what is it? You were very quiet and respectful this episode. What do you want?
Well, you forgot?
Yes.
The Bondapalooza, the Reflections video was called.
David, just fucking.
That's still coming, right?
We're stopping now. You've ruined it. You've ruined a fine evening out with your stupid crap. It doesn't make any sense.
It was vague.
I was really hoping for a better punchline there. Like he was going to say that, like you were going to announce that you found the clitoris or something, you know, or something like that.
Or that you were finally going to go on a diet.
Something exciting.
Yeah, a fat joke
Or
would have been
tired.
nice.
Yeah.
So you would have preferred one of the classics.
Yeah, I mean, I know the fat jokes about Bill aren't really accurate anymore, but that's never stopped you in the past.
No, but you know, accuracy and Dave just don't really go together anyway.
Unless we're doing games about serial killers. Or no, cryptid shit, not serial killers. Grace one, serial killer one. That sick fuck.
We'll find out next time when we go back to our cryptid stuff. So, until then, I'm the Worster, aka Zazubaar, and he was.
I'm Warzar.
Yeah, he sometimes is.
I'm Super DM64, I think. So.
And I am Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the way it's been. And I am the one who sets trends even when nobody sets... And I am the one who sets trends even if nobody follows them.
Andres is having dementia set in. He was like, oh, fuck, where am I?
I'm not in the best health right now.
Oh.
I'm not in the best state of health right now.
He's dying from the fucking simian flu over there.
Mental health.
Ah.
The science is sound.